Hello, Michelle here from Two Chicks and a Tool Belt. So I am by myself today and trying to do a video by myself, which is not very fun. Mina is on vacation and living it up in the sun. So anyway, I've had a bunch of people asking about polyurethane and polyacrylic, which is the protective coat that goes on after the chalk paint. If you remember that chalk paint is made to distress and chip, and so it needs to be sealed, and you can seal it either with a wax or a polyurethane or polyacrylic. So whatever one you wish. We do not recommend using a wax if you're going to do something like a table, which is what this is, or cupboards or something that needs to be washed a lot, because the wax just won't stand up to that. So anyway, on the table on the underside, I've already done about 3 coats of polyacrylic, and so I'm just going to show you how to do the polyacrylic. So I have the base of this table painted in our Starless Night, and I have my polyacrylic here, and I'm going to stir it. And the reason why you want to stir polyurethane and polyacrylic is because it will create bubbles. And if you get bubbles on your surface while you're putting the polyacrylic on it, you have to wipe it off. And otherwise it will dry in bubble formation, which then you have to sand. So you don't want bubbles. You will be able to see it. And if you shake it, it puts more air into it, so you will see those bubbles. Okay, so right now I have my sponge brush. Sponges are a lot easier to apply polyacrylic and polyurethanes. So I'm just going to dip the end in, and I'm going to wipe it on. I had one customer that thought you could put polyurethane and polyacrylic on like you do paint, and so she dumped the polyurethane, she was using polyurethane, onto her piece and tried to spread it from there, and it ruined the entire piece. I felt so bad for her, because you just can't spread the product like you can a paint, and you have to go slowly, because you definitely don't want those bubbles. See how I'm getting some bubbles on there? So I just keep wiping it back so the bubbles won't form. Okay. And you want to have at least 2 coats on something like this. For a table or something that you're going to wash a lot, we recommend 4 or 5 coats. And just go slowly. It is pretty forgiving, and you can just go as slow as you need to. Sorry, I think when I am trying to look at the table, I'm not looking at my phone doing this, and so it's not showing you what I'm trying to do. The difference a lot of people want to know between polyurethane and polyacrylic. We've used both, and we like both, but we like the polyacrylic better because we've noticed that polyurethane tends to yellow faster than a polyacrylic does. And nobody wants their polyurethane or polyacrylic to yellow. We actually will be selling this polyacrylic on our website very soon. We're just making up labels now. It is a water-based polyacrylic, which is also what we like, because you can wash everything with water, and because our paint is also water-based. So you don't want to put an oil-based top coat on top of a water-based paint, because water and oil don't mix. Anyway, I'm going to continue doing this. I'm going to let it thoroughly dry. You don't want to put a polyacrylic or a polyurethane on your furniture and then as soon as it feels dry to the touch, do another one. You need to let it sit for a couple hours in between because it's actually curing, not drying. So you want it cured before you put another coat on. So anyway, just read the instructions on whatever product that you're buying and follow those directions. But it's pretty easy, pretty self-explanatory. We have also put polyacrylic into our spray gun, and I really have a hard time doing that, but sometimes our pieces are so big that it saves us a lot of time. But as soon as we're done, we have to wash it out super, super well because it will stick in there like crazy. And we actually have had a really hard time getting it clean sometimes. So I actually wouldn't recommend it. We are painting so much that we get, not lazy, but we get tired and we want to, get things done and put them on the market. And so sometimes we do stuff like that, but you've got to be really vigilant. I'm going to actually wipe. Oh, look at that. See, I put another coat over that because I could see it dripping and it glued up on me because it was already starting to dry. So I'm going to have to buff that out with like either 400 or something super fine, some type of sandpaper, and that won't be a big deal. Okay, I'm going to move around the rest of the table and finish this up, and then I will show you the finished product. Let me know if you have any questions.